after Hungerford outlawed automatic rifles like the Kalashnikov used by Michael Ryan, upgraded pump-action shotguns as firearms to make them harder to own, and gave the police more rights to check on applicants for shotgun licences, but didn't limit the number of shotguns that can be held on a single licence. Thousands of now illegal guns have been handed in under an amnesty which, by coincidence, ran out last night. The weapon used at Monk's Eaton was a double-barrelled shotgun held under a licence, but there are thought to be around 3 million shotguns held illegally. Many policemen want better controls on them.
We were complaining before Hungerford, since Hungerford, so it's nothing brought on because of the terrible tragedy yesterday. At the end of the day, we say that shotguns have got to be controlled far more stringently than they are now.
But game shooters say tighter gun controls won't work.
Taking away one weapon isn't going to stop a maniac who's going berserk necessarily from killing his fellow man. He might use an axe. You can't legislate against axes. He might, and sometimes they do, get into a car, go berserk and kill innocent passers-by that way.
Yesterday's incident was the 4th case of indiscriminate shooting in Britain since the Hungerford massacre.
Up to 60 prisoners are thought to be barricaded inside the Risley Remand Centre in Cheshire after 17 of them tried but failed to overpower staff. About a dozen have now climbed onto the roof. The protest at Risley began yesterday and is thought to be about conditions there, which were criticised in an official report last year.
The protest started at 6 o'clock last night when 17 inmates made an unsuccessful attempt to overpower warders. None of the officers were injured or taken hostage, but the prisoners then managed to barricade themselves onto one floor of B Wing, where they remain. Some damage was caused. There have been similar incidents at Risley before. 3 years ago, there was a rooftop protest during the prison officers' dispute, and then in January of this year, 12 inmates got onto the roof to complain of poor food. Known inside as Grizzly Risley, this remand centre, built in the 60s, was described as barbaric and squalid in a report last summer by Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Prisons. The report was ordered after a number of suicides at Risley. Since then, work has started on improving facilities. However, it seems likely that this is a further demonstration of feeling about conditions inside. Some 60 to 70 inmates are affected by the protest. Otherwise, Risley is running normally as negotiations continue between the authorities and the protesters.
May Day demonstrations in Turkey have been marked by violence. Hundreds of protesters defied a ban to attend marches in Istanbul. Riot police used batons and opened fire to disperse the crowds. At least 8 people were injured in the clashes, 1 seriously. The protests were organised by trade unionists who are demanding pay rises of up to 200% to compensate for Turkey's high rate of inflation. And in Czechoslovakia, police and demonstrators clashed during a May Day parade in Prague. A number of dissidents who were demanding the release of political prisoners were arrested. The BBC's correspondent Misha Glenny was also detained. In contrast, tens of thousands of Russians marched, strolled and danced through Red Square this morning. Muscovites forgot their political and economic problems to celebrate May Day in spring sunshine and with not a military band in sight.
It's the high holiday of the workers' state, an official rededication of loyalty to the revolution and a chance for its leaders to enjoy the unclouded admiration of the masses. But while the marchers maintain their obligatory gaiety, this year's May Day comes at a time of doubt and change in socialist values. Popular dissatisfaction is growing over the failure of purge removed some of the old guard, making this the first May Day in decades without the veteran Andrei Gromyko, and without some of the old-style certainties he and his generation seem to embody. For the school children marching with balloons and flowers, though, the political overtones are of little interest compared to the festive parade of music and colour. What could be in doubt is how the Soviet Union will be celebrating May Day and who will be leading the celebrations when they reach the age of political awareness. Martin Sixsmith, BBC News, Moscow.
The Law Society has strongly criticised the Lord Chancellor's plans for the legal profession. The Society, which represents solicitors in England and Wales, said Lord Mackay's proposals amounted to a dangerous accumulation of power in the hands of a government minister.
With only a day left of the 3 months allowed for consultation, The Law Society called a rare bank holiday news conference to stress its concern at many of Lord Mackay's proposals. The solicitors are particularly worried by a planned new advisory committee to be appointed by the Lord Chancellor, which would advise on who could appear in court and how lawyers should behave.
The proposal, particularly for the Lord Chancellor's Advisory Committee, gives far too much power for any one government minister. We don't think that's right. We propose a sensible alternative which gives the public an interest in what should happen in the practice of the legal profession.
Solicitors say the independence of their profession is vital for their clients. That's why they want a Legal Affairs Commission to keep an eye on standards. It would have a wide range of members, not just people appointed by the government. Lord Mackay's plans to allow building societies and estate agents to do conveyancing work for their customers could put many small solicitors out of business. But the Law Society say their concern is for the public, who'd lose the chance of impartial advice on home loans. Lord Mackay's Green Paper has some good news for solicitors. They'd be allowed to speak in the higher courts for the first time, just like barristers. The solicitors say they support many of Lord Mackay's proposals. Where they disagree with him, they argue that his plans are not in the public interest. The Lord Chancellor has promised to give his own judgment by the end of July.
4 days before the Vale of Glamorgan by-election, another opinion poll has suggested that Labour could take the seat from the Conservatives. A Gallup constituency poll in this morning's Daily Telegraph and Western Mail gives Labour an 11% lead.
The last 3 polls pinned the Tories firmly in second place. The latest brings talk of a landslide for Labour. Tory Rod Richards explains why he's not rattled.
The Labour support at by-elections is always overestimated by opinion polls. It was certainly overestimated in Pontypridd by some 10%.
Labour is being cautious and aware that the poll could induce complacency among the troops. That hasn't stopped John Smith rehearsing the message he'll give Mrs Thatcher if he gets to Parliament.
Your days are numbered.
Labour's campaign has been boosted by evidence that votes are switching directly from the Tories, due, they say, to campaigning on unpopular government policies like water privatisation and, above all, the health service.
And I want you Conservatives who are confused and don't know what to do this Thursday. I want you to vote Labour, to make the right decision and vote for common sense this Thursday.
Support me as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where support was once guaranteed, it now has to be fought for.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? I can see you're going to support me as well, are you?
I'm not sure yet.
You're not sure?
This was billed as a 2-horse race right from the start, but Labour are now showing signs of running away with it. The Conservative campaign managers are working desperately to avoid giving the Prime Minister a rather unpleasant gift when she celebrates 10 years in power on Thursday.
There are 9 other candidates: Frank Levers, John Dixon, David Davis, Marilyn Wakefield, Dr. John Tiarks, Eric Roberts, Lord David Such, David Black and Lindy St Clair. Football, and the Liverpool players say they support the club's decision to stay in the FA Cup. They're now on their way home after yesterday's charity game in Glasgow to prepare for the rescheduled semi-final against Nottingham Forest next